We can provide more information by creating a detailed view in a pop-up window that will open when different values are selected in other widgets. This app already contains a table and a chart that displays similar information, along with drop-down widgets that allow users to select different dimensions and hierarchies. Refer to the video on cascading filters for details on how to set up the app in this initial configuration. In this example, we'll adjust the widgets so that selecting a column, row, or cell in the table, or a data point in the chart, will open a detailed chart that focuses on the selected values. We'll start by adding a new pop-up window. In the Designer panel, we'll rename the pop-up window and change the size to 800 pixels by 400 pixels. Now we'll enable the header and footer so that we can enter a title and adjust the footer to include only a cancel button. All options need to be enabled for the button. Next, we'll add a chart, resize it to fill the pop-up window, and rename it. We'll also configure the chart using the same data source as the existing table and chart to show the gross margin measures as a trend time series. Next, we'll create 3 script variables to contain the values selected in various widgets. The first script variable will hold the current selection from the Dimensions dropdown. We'll rename it Current Dimension, leave the type as string, and set the default value to the location dimension. The second variable will hold the current measure selection. We'll set it as an array to hold multiple values. The third variable will hold the data about the selections made that will be used to display the data in the pop-up window. This will also be an array. Now we'll edit the scripts for the drop-down widgets to pass information to the chart in the pop-up window, starting with the Dimensions dropdown. First, we'll insert a statement here that will add the selected dimension to the detailed chart. We'll also add a statement to the bottom of the script that will set the default hierarchy of the details chart to flat presentation, as it is for the main table and chart. We'll also edit the script for the Hierarchies dropdown. At the bottom of the script, we'll add another statement to set the hierarchy of the detail chart to the selected hierarchy. We want users to be able to launch the detail chart in the pop-up window when they make a selection in the table and chart, so we also need to add scripts to the onselect events for those widgets. First, we capture which columns, rows, or cells are selected in the table and write the results to our console so that we can track the selections made. We also remove any existing dimensions from the detail chart and make the pop-up invisible until we can determine the next step. Next, we add a series of if statements that will determine whether the selection in the table is a measure, a dimension member, or a data cell, which is a combination of a measure and a dimension member. Push that information into the detail chart, and, if the selection includes measures, save the selected measures to the current details measure script variable. Finally, now that the detail chart contains the correct information, we make the pop-up visible. Now we need to do the same thing for the chart. We start with the same steps of getting the selection, writing it to the console, and setting the pop-up window as invisible. As with the table, we add a series of if statements that will determine whether the selection in the chart is a dimension member or a data point, push that information into the detailed chart, and, if the selection includes measures, save the selected measures to the current details measure script variable. And again, we finish by making the pop-up visible. Next, we'll determine what happens when users click the Cancel button in the pop-up window. Here, we remove any content from the detail chart using the current details measure script variable. Set the values from the current measure script variable as the measures for the detail chart, and then trigger the closing of the pop-up. Finally, we'll add a script for the onInitialization event for the canvas to determine what will happen when the app is first run. In this script, we load the hierarchies into the Hierarchies dropdown, set the default hierarchy to flat presentation, and fill the current measure script variable with the gross margin measures. Now we'll save our changes and run the application. Here, the drop-downs are set to show the location dimension in a flat hierarchy, so we can see the gross margin measures for each city. If we select a dimension member, the pop-up window opens and shows a trend line for each measure for Los Angeles. We can return to the main application by closing the pop-up window. Next, we'll change the dimension displayed in the table. If we select a specific data cell, the chart displays the trend over time for that combination of dimension member and measure. Now we'll switch to the chart view and choose a new dimension. If we select a data point in the chart, the detail chart shows the trend line for the new combination of member and measure. Thanks for watching.